your life experiences are more impacted by how you react to what happened than even what actually happened to you.
If I handed you a blank check and said, write in the amount that you're worth, would you write 10,000, 100,000, a million, 100 million? How do you really put a value on yourself?
Every day, you pay out a check in the form of your time, your talent, and your treasure. Come with me on this journey, the blank check, as we hear inspiring stories and lessons learned to help you uncover how much you're really worth.
Hey! I woke up in the middle of the night to my roommate yelling, "Get up, someone tried to blow up the house." Yes, literally, not figuratively, blow up my house. I walked outside to see the back of my Lexus window cracked. I had left the garage door open that night when someone threw what's called a Molotov cocktail at my car that was parked inside the garage. The garage was also right next to my bedroom while I was sleeping. If you've never heard of a Molotov cocktail, it's basically a cheap homemade bomb. It's made by taking a rag, you put it inside of a beer bottle, you get a flame, you light the rag, and when you throw it upon contact, it becomes combustible and explodes. Yes, it becomes a bomb. And yes, it was that serious. But thank God, miraculously, the rag fell out and just burned on the concrete floor. And it didn't explode, but just messed up my car. But that night, immediately, I made up my mind. It was time to put the house up for sale and move. Fortunately, I ended up selling the house very quickly, and I ended up making a very nice profit on the sale. But since then, many times I remember that night, and I thank God for his protection, and I thank God for his favor in that situation. That could have really hurt me or even killed me. But instead, it turned out to be in my favor. At the time, I was only 22 years old, and it really shook me how and why it happened. And I asked myself that question that we all do. Why me? Why did this happen to me? I was being a good person. I wasn't a bad person to others. And you might have heard this saying before, that bad things happen to good people. But now, I try to stay clear of saying that things are good or that things are bad. Because in that moment, I really don't know what is in store for the future. Like, remember when there was that person that broke up with you years ago, but down the road, you realized they really did you a favor. Or maybe it was that job or business opportunity that didn't work out that time and it left you crushed in that moment. But later, things ended up working out way better than you expected. Your life experiences are more impacted by how you react to what happened than even what actually happened to you. Now, there's this story of two identical twin brothers. One becomes a highly successful and respected doctor, and the other brother becomes an alcoholic and homeless. They were both interviewed and asked, how can they go from being identical and growing up in the same home, can they have two completely different outcomes in life? And they asked the alcoholic brother why he became the person he did. And he said it was because growing up in his home, his father was an alcoholic. Then they asked the other brother, that was the doctor, why did he become the person that he did? And he said, because growing up in his home, his father was an alcoholic. You see, your life is far more impacted by how you react than what actually happened to you. I never found out who did it, and I never found out why it happened. But what I have found out is that after all these years, those answers don't matter. What really matters is that what was meant to harm me turned out to work for me. The bomb became a blessing because it caused me to move. Sometimes when you're in a place of comfort, it's difficult to move, and the only thing that will cause you to move may be a major disruption, or I hate to say this, but maybe an unfortunate break that causes you to change your mindset of how you see your reality. And once again, recently, when I had some new life bombs thrown at me, I reflected on that night. And I went back to that season in my mind of how I felt. And I remembered how I was so uncertain of what the next season of my life was going to bring. I was so fearful of what was going to happen next. And do you know what the biggest fear for any of us is? And it's not the fear of death or the fear of heights or even scary clowns on roller skates. It's really the fear of uncertainty. The fear of uncertainty for the future, not being in control or having control in a particular situation of your life. You see, we don't have control of many things. Like, for example, we can't always decide when someone lives or when someone dies. You can't even control when someone loves you or when someone doesn't love you. I want to leave you with this statement. It's one that I reflect on, and I tell this to myself often. Control what you can control, and what you can't, let it go and give it to God. And I know that sounds super simple, but isn't life complicated enough already? It's time to let go of something. Some of the things that are happening to you are part of your development. And some of the things that are happening to you are there to move you. In your life, you will have many bombs thrown at you intended to harm you. But consider this. It might be the push needed to cause you to make a big, bold move and take action. And that action could lead to your next blessing. So in this last season of my life, there was another bomb that came my way. And I remembered all those years ago when that actual bomb was thrown at my house. But this time, I had to shut down a production studio that I put my time, my money, and love into. And I had to make another move. Yet, incredibly, there was an even bigger blessing right around the corner waiting for me when I did. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I pray that all the bombs that are intended for you become your blessings. And please remember, when you go to sleep tonight, close your garage door. Now, I always do. See you next time on The Blank Check.